Okay, your video for tonight, for this weekend, is 10-3, rate of change in slope. So you should have seen both of these at some point in middle school. Okay, so very first and foremost, I want you to write this down. This is the main thing I want you to write down, is the slope formula. Okay, the slope formula, and that is this: m, which is the same thing as slope. That m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, where x1, y1, and x2, y2 are 2 points on a line. 2 points on a line. Okay? Most important formula. You should remember that, I hope, from middle school. Okay? All right. Next thing, quickly read over these, pause it and read over each slide. Not much to write down today. I don't want you to write all this down. I just want you to read it and think about it. Actually think about it and try to understand what's going on there. Okay? Real important to know that these two are the same thing. Rate of change and slope are the same thing. Okay? We're just talking, it's a different way to refer to the same thing. Okay? Bottom right here, this is a graph and just a more in-depth understanding of what the slope of a line is. Hopefully you've seen this from middle school and you remember it, depending on where you're from. And rise, remember rise over run, that is what slope is. Slope is equal to rise over run, or the change in y over the change in x, okay? And so we're going to be doing this on Monday. So here's a better example of finding the slope. So you can see this red line. We're finding the slope of the red line right there. So when you find the slope of the red line, we would use our formula from the previous page, right? Which was this, and we plug in the whichever point we want. This could be x1, y1, and this one x2, y2. Okay, you work it out. I'm not going to do that now, but you work it out, and you figure out that the slope is 2. Okay, so the one below that, what is also important to know today is that the slope of a horizontal line, the slope of a horizontal line is 0. So horizontal is 0, and the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Okay, so vertical is undefined. All right, we'll talk about that more on Monday as well. Okay, and then this right here, pause this on this slide, and I want you to read over it and try to understand what is happening. And this is one, it's talking about the cost of mailing a 1-ounce letter, okay? And it's talking about the rate of change between the years, okay? So this is the rate of change between each year. Over here on the right is how much it is changing between certain years that are on the left, okay? So what I want you to do is look at it and try to think about how they figured that out, okay? They did the change in y, or the change in the dependent variable, over the change in x, which is the independent variable, okay? They did that for each one and came up with the slope. Now below it, down here, pause this here, and I want you to look at it as well and try to understand what's going on. And you see the slope, how the slope changed between each year. Each red piece of this red line, here and here and here, all these little pieces, you can see over here to the right, on each one of these is how much the slope is for each line and how it's changing every year, okay? So you can see how it changed every year, okay? So I want you to pause it. Last thing, I want you to memorize these 3 things for Monday. So not many notes today, not much to write down, but on Monday when you come in, I want you to memorize the slope formula. That was from the first slide. I want you to memorize the chart below, and I want you to know this because we all know that anyway. It's pretty easy. You don't have to memorize that. You probably already know it. So have a great weekend.